broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Oh, that's so lovely. That's so lovely. Marissa, yes. This is Sammy the Davis Jr. Let me tell you something. I have so much love for Sammy Davis Jr. Isn't that nice? Doesn't that feel good?
It feels amazing.
Doesn't that put you back in like the mind frame of like back in the day? I wish I was, able to be like a fly on the wall back then, right?
Grew up in that era.
Welcome you guys to another episode of The Real Husbands of Hollywood AfterBuzz. And goodness gracious, we have a couple of shows to do for you guys. I am your host, Robin Ayers, and I am sitting with my lovely co-host.
Hi guys, of course I'm Janeisha John.
This is exciting.
Yes.
This is exciting. I'm so happy to be back, you guys. It's interesting. Let me just say something really fast. We will be covering both this episode, which is Kevin Davis Jr., as well as the American Zero, which is hilarious. I don't know who these writers are, but they got it going on with these names, right?
They are killing it with these last couple episodes.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me give a shout out to Sammy Davis Jr. Obviously rest in peace. But let me just say, my last name, I don't know if you know this, but my maiden name is Davis.
I didn't know that.
Okay, so you never know. There might be some lineage.
This is close to home for you.
It is.
This is Uncle Sammy.
He might be
Robin.
Uncle Sammy. He just might be. I don't know. But let's talk about the American Zero, last week's episode.
Okay. Well, before we get into it, I do want to remind you guys are our co-hosts. Be sure to tune in, tweet us. I'm at Janeisha_Miss VI.
Yes. And you guys could always find me at Robin Ayers on Twitter, all social media. And hashtag us, which is ABTVRHOH.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, right?
I mean,
we'll find you though. Whatever the case is, we will find you guys. So definitely tweet us your questions, or if you have any feedback or anything about the show, we'll definitely give you a shout out, mention you, talk about your topics as well.
Of course. Now let's get into it.
Yes. The American Zero. I mean, okay, I don't know why it was called that, but I mean, sometimes you could figure it out. Sometimes you really can't.
Yeah.
But that episode was pretty interesting to me because I guess it was all about what's his name? The old assistant.
Yeah, Oliver.
Oliver done came up.
Oliver's like, you know what? I'm gonna stick it to Kevin.
Yeah. And good for him because I thought he was actually pretty funny on the show. Like, back in the other seasons though, like when he was on season 1, I think he was on season 2.
He was shortly. I think when I think season 3 too, for a little bit, when Kevin kind of like got rid of him and he became a homeless person.
Yeah, which was funny.
The struggles and all this stuff because he didn't have a job anymore. So,
yeah, exactly. Shout out to Periscope.
Yeah, we're here on Periscope, guys.
So Periscope is showing love. So hey, guys. Okay, so anyway, Oliver was kicked to the curb, right? Yep. He was fired we always said, I think that he did a great job actually playing the assistant or like flunky. Yeah. And then Jackie did a great job kind of swooping in and taking that spot, right?
Jackie has no problem.
Jackie ain't got no issues with it. So anyway, I really loved how the scene kind of played out. Jackie and Kevin, I like the humor when they started talking at the bar. Yeah. And Jackie was kind of like he was the man or whatever. Kevin was like, man, don't nobody know you. Yeah, exactly. And then here comes the president of Paramount, right?
Yes.
And he comes in there and of course he's showing Jackie all this love and then of course he talks to Kevin like,
getting his dream role.
Yeah, talking to Kevin about getting his dream role, which is the Thunder Brother, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was kind of strange. I wonder if there's a real live comic like that. Like,
I have no idea, but I mean, I think it's pretty funny because Kevin is like, high.
Yeah, exactly.
He wants to be an action figure.
Exactly. So basically, that whole episode, and we could just kind of wrap that up really quickly. I thought it was a pretty good episode, but I think it was really more about Oliver, just kind of showing knowing that he's got this power back. They're like, Kevin, you kicked me to the curb, but I got my weight up. You know what I'm saying? And that's the whole thing. You know what's funny? This theme has been going around in real life, actually. Like, never treat people badly, because you never know. Right? People just they just come up and it's like, oh my gosh, they just...
And we see it all the time out here in Hollywood. You know,
of course.
One day you're an extra or background on set, and the next day you have a lead role. And it's so funny because, you know, me, you know, I also act as well. And so when I'm on set, sometimes I've done background work myself, and I always, like, you know, see how they treat the extras or background talent. And it's like, listen, you never know that one of these actors are going to be, you know, in a lead position another day and then treat you like cuckoo because you treated them like cuckoo.
Exactly. So I like that word.
Yeah, cuckoo. We're going to keep it PG tonight. I just think that, you know, people need to, it's a good lesson that you learn in this episode, in that episode, of course, you know, basically teaching you, do unto others as you like them to do unto you.
Yes.
Don't treat people poorly, because you never know, this might be the person that's, you know, in a position to either destroy your career later on.
Exactly. So, you just never know. Like, that's the whole thing about it. And clearly that's what happened with Oliver. Oliver was like, listen, I'm the man. All right. So Oliver did his very best to keep Kevin down, to kick him down, and not get him the I guess the proper appointment with the president of Paramount Studios or whatever. So that whole thing was just really funny. You know, Oliver did his very best to try to keep him out, and he was successful up until a certain point, until Kevin decided that he was going to climb through the window.
He basically killed the whole president of Paramount.
Yeah, he tried. And is it that serious though? Like, would you have gone that far, or would you just be like, listen, yo, like, it's not that serious, I'll catch you on the flip side?
I mean, think about it. Your dream role. I mean, I'm not climbing through anybody's window. That's just crazy. Period. That's just crazy. But again, you know, they stretch the truth so much in this situation. It's like, again, the fakest reality show ever.
Yeah.
They exaggerate everything. So it's just funny to kind of see him climbing through a window. And then when he kills him, he's trying to wipe down everything and get back out the window. It's just stupid.
How ironic, though, was it that Oliver originally got his job with the president because he was faking. He saved his life. He made him go, like, almost trip in front of the car, but then he saves him from getting hit. But he gets his job that way, and then he gets promoted because he saves his life again by taking them to the hospital. Right? So ironic. But once again, I think that they did a good job there.
Yeah, it was funny from beginning to end. And I know in a couple of the past episodes we were like, okay, it was kind of dragging a little bit, but that one, I think that episode was to me funny from beginning to end.
Starting to pull it up. And then I think that was sort of the leadway into a funny episode like this particular one that we saw tonight.
Episode.
Oh my gosh, let me just give mega shouts out to Kevin, because Kevin this is what I'm hoping doesn't happen to Kevin. I love Kevin. Like, he's really that funny to me. I don't want him to get, like, you know, these people have done it. Like Jaleel White. Remember Urkel?
Yes, you get stuck in this.
Yeah, you get stuck in this box, but also people love you, and then they start watering it down. Like, you get a cereal, you're on a cereal box, you're on every cover of a magazine, you get a doll
too much
after you, so much. I just don't want him to be so. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I just like Kevin that much, but I don't know. He seems like he's still on a high, like he's still climbing.
I think too, you know, people just like him as a person.
Yeah.
It's so funny because BET always tends to run a lot of his stuff, and so I was watching, I want to say, one of his shows that he had at Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
And you know, after he's done all his funny stuff, he takes a moment to just kind of be real with the audience. And starts getting emotional and saying, you know, this is a dream of mine. This was a dream come true. He starts getting teary-eyed, and I think that people love his story.
That's true.
The fact that, you know, he's been doing this for a long time, and you know, he's stuck with it and keep going and works extremely hard, has a great work ethic, not to mention that he's doing all this stuff for the community and trying to get people to be healthy, and you know, so I just think that people like him as a person, you know. And he's very likable, so I just don't see him fizzling out anytime soon.
I agree with that. I think he's actually the epitome of somebody who's supposed to do it at that level. Like, if you're doing it like that and you have a name like that, you're supposed to give back like that. You're supposed to care about the community like that. And then, you know, I like that we talked about this before, he's using his voice, he's using his face, his image, and all of that stuff to really make a difference. So and then I hear that he's going to be running in Santa Monica. Now, I don't know if that's true.
Wait, when is
but
this?
Yo, if you come to Santa Monica, I mean, he's already out here, but I'm just saying, like, if you run in Santa Monica, I think I just might go. Hey. Maybe that's my start to getting back in the gym.
Hey, let's go.
Let's you just never know. You just never know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm rooting for Kevin in whatever he does. I think he's an amazing, he's talented. He's amazing at what he does. Yeah. And let's talk about him trying to channel this Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah, Mr.
Well, as
Kevin
he said,
Davis.
Sammy Davis Sr. I was
yes.
Like, what?
Yeah. I don't know what he was doing there. But anyway, so we start out the episode with Kevin in this meeting with Trina, of course, and they're talking about him getting this role. They bumped it to $20 million. Like
15. First of all, that 15 caught his attention. I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I
know. But then he was like, well, that 15 million does nothing for me. But that 20 million, you got yourself a deal, right?
Yo, 1 million would have did it for. I'd have been like, done, signed up. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, but hey, if you got it like that and 15 million is doing it for you, that's cool.
You better negotiate them dollars.
Exactly. So he definitely accepted it at $20 million, right?
Okay, wait. Before we go into that, did you notice that the guy Mark, who's like, of course, the producer, that they poked fun at Iggy? Iggy Azalea?
I did.
They were like, Iggy Azalea movie producing. Yeah.
I did. Yeah. I don't know what's up.
I don't know what's up with that, but
I mean, sometimes their little lower thirds are very funny. Sometimes I'm just like, I didn't get it. Like maybe a meeting went on and I wasn't there because I didn't get it. But
we didn't completely get it. But I'm curious to know if it was shade being thrown. So if you guys know, please let us know if they were trying to throw some shade.
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe not.
I don't know. But what's up, Iggy?
What up? Okay.
So then of course I loved it. I actually like the scenes where they all the husbands get together or the men,
at
whatever.
The poker table.
At the poker table. I like those scenes because it's always something funny that comes from that. You have no choice but to be face to face with all these guys who are funny in their own right. They all bring a whether it's Boris and he's subtly funny or Kevin who's outright funny or whatever. They all bring something to that table.
So did we notice who was missing tonight? We didn't see Nelly. We didn't see Boris. We didn't see. We haven't seen Nick in a while.
Yeah.
I guess he's busy, but I mean,
okay. Nick is wilding out.
Hey, pun definitely intended.
Boom. I don't know. That's my girl. Yeah. So maybe he is, and I don't know, but you're right. We haven't seen him. I don't think we've seen him since Doctor.
That Dante and his wife Sally are actually officially part of the crew now.
Yeah, no, well, they introduce him as well
as one of the husbands.
Yeah. When the shows, the credits are rolling, they definitely introduce him. I like that they poked fun at their husbands' careers.
True.
Which again is hilarious because they can sit there and they can laugh at themselves. I think that's perfect.
Yeah, I think
so.
I
mean, and then first of all, I have to say, Sally and Nicole, they came out of that studio looking fly.
Girl,
I was like, drop the mic. Yeah, they were fly. Weren't they?
They did that. Yeah.
So like, ladies, go ahead and work that out because I was a fan. I was like, okay, let me learn. Okay, I loved Sally's outfit. I loved Nicole's outfit. I just liked the whole thing and I like that there was no hate, you know what I'm saying? And it just seemed like the vibe was good. So I'm always about that.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, let's fast forward. Okay.
All right, so they're at the table, and that's of course when Kevin talks about his new role or
his $20 million.
Yeah, and was that his official role though? Like had he gotten it at first before Wayne became a factor?
I think he had the role in the bag until he started showing that he didn't know who Sammy Davis Sr. in his words was.
Yeah.
I mean, technically Junior.
And so, like, I thought it was funny. I didn't realize that Wayne Brady actually is that big of a fan of Sammy Davis Jr. and that he could actually imitate him really well.
Well, first of all, he's great at imitating lots of people.
Yeah, a lot of people. I do know that. Yeah. I just never personally heard Sammy, but Wayne
think
is great.
I've heard him do Sammy before on when he did that improv show with Drew Carey and on ABC. I don't know if you're familiar.
Yes.
Whose line
is
no?
Whose line is it?
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
It's been a few years. So no, I mean, he does an amazing job at imitating and his impersonations all the time. And Sammy Davis Jr., like, as you can see how passionate he got.
Yeah.
He's really good at, singing, tapping. Like he said, I sing, I dance, I tap, bullwhip. I dated a white woman and even spoke Yiddish.
Yeah.
Apparently he had this thing down pack. So
I mean, clearly, because he showed, at the next scene when they were at the club and they were, of course, all the movie producers who are going to be producing that movie were going to be there in the house, and Kevin is up there. And the funny thing about Kevin is that he's always portraying like he's the Kevin that's got it in the bag no matter what. Like, I'm just that dude. And it's like, but Kevin, you're not.
Kevin's up there channeling his inner Bill Cosby.
I'm like, first of all, he called it the mouse pack. And it's the Rat Pack, and then he starts imitating Bill Cosby. Come on! I mean, as funny as that was, like I said, I started off this episode by saying Kevin brought the funny on this episode. Like, Kevin just did his thing. I think that maybe this isn't the best I've seen him, but this was, within this season, surely one of the best performances I think he's given as far as his comedy is concerned.
He did a good job. He did a good job at pretending like he really didn't know who Mr. Sammy Davis Jr. was. So,
right, exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about Trina, though? Miss Business Trina. Well, do we want to talk about business Trina or relationship Trina?
Well, let's talk about both, because she clearly, she intertwined them both on this episode.
But I will say this. Trina is about her money.
She is about her
money. She's like, listen, I love you. But she's telling Wayne, like, listen, I love you and all this and kisses and all that, but you messing with my coins.
Exactly. And I love who Trina portrays. I like who her role is. Like, you could actually look at her and say, I want to be like Trina.
She's a boss.
Yeah, she's definitely a boss. She's beautiful. She handles herself well.
Oh, she handles Kevin too.
Yes.
Did you see how she manhandled him? Hold him in a little chokehold.
Yeah. I will put my foot 5% or something like that. Oh my gosh, Trina is funny. But okay, so the question that I had, well, after we saw at the comedy club, we saw how Wayne did a great job of impersonating Sammy Davis, and then he started talking to the producers, and he weaseled himself on up in there to get himself a screen test for the movie. And so the next scene that we see is him and Trina at the restaurant, and they're celebrating. Kevin walks up, and what I was thinking right at that moment was, what would you do in that situation? Like, when you mix business and pleasure at the same time, and it's not just business and pleasure. It's not like you're with a friend and you have business going on, but you also have a personal relationship. This is your man. So how like risky is that? And would you have been the same way that Trina was?
You think, I don't know, because I found it at first I thought, okay, well, maybe she's like, she's all in with Wayne. But when she was like, listen, I don't want him to get this, because this is cutting into my 5% of your $20 million. And she was saying she's trying to get him all I guess drunk so that he performs terribly at this screen test, which is so fun, so terrible. I mean, at the end of the day, I think for me personally, a good girlfriend would have to set aside her coin to see her man succeed. That's what I think. So
okay,
that's what I think. I think that would be the right thing to do, because you'd be supportive of your significant. Either way, she's gonna win. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like,
for sure, for sure.
And so I guess I would like to say that I would rather see the person that I love be happy, and successful versus, me getting 5% and he's pouting all day.
Well, yeah, no, that's great. How sweet of you. And not that I disagree. Let me just say,
you sound like you disagree. It's not. She's like, no.
It's not that I disagree. I just will say that had that been my husband, 100% for sure. Okay. I'm down for that.
Valid point.
Yeah, but you're a boyfriend, and I have to say, as cute as Trina and Wayne Brady are on this show, it doesn't seem like it's solidified, like it's going anywhere. I mean, just a few episodes ago, they were talking about meet my mom and parents and stuff, and he's like, nah, and she's like, oh, nah, like, you know what I'm saying? It's just that whole thing, and I'm like, she doesn't even look like, I'll put something to the side for you, Wayne. Like, she's like, listen, like, she made it clear, your house over here, my house over here, and that's just what it is, So at this point, I see why she's going for that whole, like, I'm behind Kevin.
Well, I mean, obviously we know she's an independent woman all the way. She's all about her business, which is great. I don't know. That's touchy. I think the whole thing is a conflict of interest, obviously, and in real life, I don't know how I would have dealt with something like that. Because again, that's 5%.
That's a lot of money. But what if it weren't on that level? What if it was just still some sort of, you know, business and pleasure type of relationship, but it wasn't on this big money move?
See, that's where that loyalty card comes to play.
So who
are you being loyal to? Your client or your man?
Yeah.
Like, I think a real man would never want you to have to be in that position. So I just think, you know, in a situation like that, we will tell you, okay, deal with your client.
Yeah.
You know, this is me. And if I get through, I get through. If I don't, you know.
Exactly. Which is a great point, because Wayne got mad at her for hooking Kevin up. And he was like, you know, I'm a Sammy fan. Like,
when
you know.
He was like, business Sally ruined it for relationship Sally. And he was like, no, for
he
you.
Did. He definitely did. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but obviously he got himself apart.
That's a tough situation.
It is very tough. And who's to say? I mean, we have our opinions, but unless you're actually in that situation working with that much money or whatever.
I think it depends on how much you really care about Boo. So if it's not that
true.
serious in your mind, listen, don't mess up your coin.
That's what I'm saying.
But if you think this is going to be your future husband,
you
might want to stay loyal to him, because that $20 million that he's getting is your $20 million eventually.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Eventually. So.
Exactly. Great point. So Wayne, okay, so they both, okay. Where it starts getting funny was Arsenio stepping in, and clearly he was like, you know, Kevin, I got your back. Well, I like they had the scene at the bar. He's explaining to Kevin just how important Sammy Davis Jr. is. Of course, he's going to be, if he's not already, in history books. You know, he's just definitely a major part of entertainment for African Americans. But Kevin wasn't even going to do the screen test at first. He was like, Kevin Hart doesn't screen test. But I wonder if he's really like that. Like, I wonder if he's at that point where he doesn't necessarily have to screen test, but he's just given roles.
I'm pretty sure he's at that point.
Probably at that point. I agree.
In your mind, if you're writing something, you're writing it for Kevin Hart. There's not too many Kevin Harts out there. So, I mean, there's only one, actually.
Yeah.
So, I think Kevin's past that point. However, I'm pretty sure if he had to screen test for a role, I'm pretty sure he'd do it.
Yeah, ego aside,
I think he's still down there.
Okay,
regardless of what.
All right, we're gonna give you that, Kevin.
Yeah,
all right, we're gonna give you that.
We're gonna hope that you.
Yes, we're gonna hope. Right. So Arsenio basically he convinced Kevin to go ahead and do the screen test.
Setup, man.
The whole setup. Oh my gosh! But that's where it starts getting really funny. He was like, "We're gonna make sure you have your team. You know, like your singing lessons and all this stuff." And
I mean, watching him at first, because of course we didn't know right away that he was trying to set him up. So I thought maybe he was genuinely just trying to encourage him.
Yeah, me too.
So I was like, okay, but he sucks though. But I was like, you know, maybe
like that's his boy. Like, okay,
you don't want to let him down. Like, you know, just encourage him. Maybe, you know, he'll eventually get it.
Maybe.
But when he turned around and was like, just laughing at me.
Yeah, like the first of all, the scenes though. Let's talk about the scenes where Kevin is actually taking voice lessons and taking tap dancing lessons and
the gun lessons.
Yeah, the gun. I mean, he does his classic like,
what
is that? I don't know what that is, but it's really, really funny. And he applied it today, or on this episode, and he was just funny. So he, after all of his things, Arsenio is giving him props. Like, man, I thought you got the role. Like, you just nailed that, So Kevin forgets his keys, goes back inside, and everybody is there, including Wayne, and they're all laughing at him and just going hard. Now that scene, Janeisha, I almost spit up.
Did.
Yeah, I almost spit up because I was literally rolling at the funny. I mean, they brought the funny when
Kevin started whining like a little baby.
Okay, so my line of the night, let me see, I wrote it down. My line is when Arsenio said, "Did you really think I would let the sweat from a baboon's balls stay up?" I just read it again, and it was really that funny. It was really that funny. The sweat from a baboon's balls.
Dang.
Okay. Sorry.
Metaphor of the year. Like, come on.
I mean, who says that? I mean, Arsenio, man, brother with the finger, Arsenio, that was really funny. I had to give you that. And then Kevin's response even back to that was just funny, how he was just looking at him like a defeated little kid on the playground.
Crying, like, what?
Yeah, I mean, that was hilarious. Okay, so a couple of, we can, fast forward and move on because I know we're kind of closing in on some time. But when they're talking about so Jackie invites, Kevin was really sad after he got clowned like that. I mean, he got certified clowned. He went back to the house. He got drunk, and Jackie walks in and invites him to Dondre's.
To Dondre's motivational, I guess, talk.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, is that really is that really cool with is that really how his life is? Does Dondre do motivational speaking?
I don't know.
Do you know?
But I think he'd be good at it. I mean, based on what he showed tonight, I think,
yeah, he might be. He might be,
except for all that stuff that Kevin, I mean, is he really like as successful as he was trying to portray?
That's what
Kevin was going in on him.
He was going in. And then here's the other thing that I thought about was going back to the last episode, The American Zero, when they showed Dondre and Sally's house, when they had Boris and Nicole over for dinner.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, wait, are they living like that? Who's working here? Because and then he also said that he was developing shows, comedy shows.
Okay.
And I know he said that on the show, on Real Husbands of Hollywood, and I don't know if that's real life, but I'm just saying.
I mean, that's interesting. Maybe we could check that out. But,
yeah.
I mean, of course, a lot of these actors do go on to be behind the scenes. Writing, producing, and sometimes we just don't know where they're getting their coins from.
That's true.
Well,
that's a huge question of mine, because so many people are. They have a certain amount of success, and then what happens after that? When we don't see them anymore, we think
automatically think that they're not
doing bad,
anything.
they're broke or whatever.
Yep.
And then sometimes we see them pop up and they're looking great, and you're like, oh, how are you doing that?
A lot of them make great investments,
Yes.
Great business decisions, and their monies are invested in all sorts of things. So
yeah,
I'm curious to know what Dondre and Sally have been up to.
Well, I was actually following him before I even knew he was on Real Husbands. I was following him on Periscope.
Okay.
And every time it would give me a notification, I would, I would tune into his Periscope. And I saw a couple of times where he was at some like news, channel or what. And I was like, what is he doing there? What are you doing there? And I don't know what he was doing.
Staying busy.
Making them chips, making them coins.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that, Dondre.
Hey, motivational, like speak to us and let us know what to do.
There's a lot of money in motivational speaking, I will say.
True.
I mean, I'm dibbling and dabbling a little.
You would know.
Up in there a little bit, because I am very motivational, in case you didn't know.
Yeah, by the way, we'll talk about that. I peeped one of your videos.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
she's
cool.
really good, guys. Really good.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, I think I mean, it was pretty interesting. I think Dondre first of all, he got Jackie to put on a nice little suit.
He did.
He looked really nice in the suit too.
When Jackie first walked into Kevin's apartment, I was like, did he get hot? Did I miss an episode? Did he get hired somewhere? Because he looked like a boss, right?
Yeah.
That was the first time I saw him really go in there. I mean, that wasn't my favorite tie.
It's a little colorful.
It was colorful. I mean, but
the suit though, and he had his hair all trimmed and neat.
He did. He did.
He looked nice.
He looked like he was making some certified money.
There you go. I think Jackie, that might be the new look for you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it might be. No, for real, Jackie. Think about that though. But yeah, so he invites Kevin on down to Dondre's motivational, engagement, his speaking engagement, and that's another series of funny for me because he brings his flask down there. Like, Kevin, what are you doing?
What did he tell the old
he
lady?
said, but no, it was the way he said it. Dondre said, "Excuse me, lady, take that flask away from him." He said, "Touch my flask and I'm gonna bust your ass."
That was funny. I think that was my favorite line of the night.
It was one of my favorites as well.
He low-key sounded a little serious. He was like, yeah, touch my flask, I'm gonna bust that ass.
because of the way he looked at the old. I mean, she's this old lady, and he's over here threatening this old lady about this flask. I mean, so funny. Yeah, so
I think
funny.
We both nearly died right there.
Yeah, that was really good. So I like that line as well. And then when Dondre goes to Kevin and he's like, listen, imagine. Oh, go ahead.
First of all, did we see how he dragged Kevin's little backside over?
He definitely did.
Dragged him over the counter.
Like, seriously, Kevin, like, I know he's been in the gym building up some muscle, but I mean, Dondre dragged him across that thing like a doll.
Listen, they play so much on his height. Like,
they do.
It's funny though. Like, you can't help but laugh. That's hilarious. So
they do. So Dondre is like, imagine being me. What was the name of his speech? You can be me.
Yeah.
Something like that.
In my mind, I'm like, well, why do they want to be you?
Yeah, I don't know. And then he had men, women. I don't know. It's just like, why does anybody want to be you?
You can see yourself as me. You can be Sammy.
I mean, which I don't know. But when Kevin started going off, he was like, yeah, I could see. He was like, I could see me wearing turtlenecks with zippers.
First of all, when he said he could see him with Sally, he said, I've seen that before. Yeah.
Like in real life.
In real life, he's like, hey.
I mean, the little exchange that they had going back and forth, and Kevin just dropping his lines, like that whole series of, I could see myself wearing the turtleneck with the zipper. I mean, he was just going on and on. I mean, it was so good.
He
so
went
funny.
As far as even talking about Dondre's manhood. Like,
yes.
It was just,
yeah.
So
I mean, it was really funny. By the way, your ring is slamming right now. It's pretty dope. You should let me try it on.
Okay, we'll do that later.
Y'all see how she didn't want to do that right now, though, because she knew she wasn't going to leave with it tonight.
Yeah.
All right, that ring is popping, though. Okay, so anyway, so
let's get to the juicy part, the showdown.
Yeah, the showdown, because yeah, clearly they've both just done their screen test. They both walk up out of the studio. Kevin is dressed as the 70s Sammy Davis, and then Wayne comes right out as the modern day Sammy, or right? Wouldn't that be the case?
Yeah, I guess so.
And then they just started clowning back and forth. What did you think about their interaction?
Well, first of all, we already know that Wayne can dance. Wayne can do a little bit of everything.
Yes.
And so, he danced, but it was still very humorous. He was like playing with the gun and all that stuff. But for me, I love this little dance that Kevin does. This little...
Yeah.
It had me dying. And then when he was like, that's all I have.
Yeah, I mean, so Wayne for me was, of course, the talented one. He's doing all these like little finger moves and, and then Kevin's like... like he didn't even know what he was doing, but it was funny. It was so funny. Of course, the dancing back and forth, and then the gun twirling, and all this, the whole duel that they had, right? And then Kevin thinks that Wayne shot him. He's like, Jackie, it burned.
Shot it burned. He's so dramatic.
He's so dramatic. So I thought it was really cool that Trina comes out. She makes him stop. She's like, y'all chill out.
Well, first of all, they were doing all of this with loaded guns. Are they crazy? Like, what? Arsenio was like, hello.
Yeah, I mean, crazy move. But which is not funny, because let me tell you something. I was shot in the head with a BB gun.
Oh, my goodness.
It was a CO2 BB gun.
What?
Yes, in high school, right? So I was in a place where I should not have been. Children, stay in school. Because I was
play with
bitching
guns.
that day. And
don't play with guns.
Well, I went to my friend's house. This is a total side note, but I went to my friend's house, and she was living with her boyfriend, an older boyfriend. And so on the desk, or on the, their counter, I saw a gun, and I don't play with guns. I don't like the sight of them or anything. And I was just like, oh my gosh, put that up. And so my friend, she says, Robin, like, stop tripping. It's not even loaded. And she picks up the gun, and she goes, see, it's not loaded. And she just played around with it like that, and it just went off, and it went boom right in my forehead. Goodness. So I'm laid out. I literally black out. And when I awake, I have my sister, a few of my friends. They're all like, you ever see those shows where like you wake up out of your sleep and everybody's like on top of you?
Yeah.
That's what it was like. I mean, it was really happening. And it was so crazy. They were on top of me, like looking at my forehead like, oh my God. So I've kind of come to, and I pick myself up. There's blood everywhere. They call the ambulance. The ambulance takes me to the hospital. They have to do surgery because the bullet, or it's not a bullet, it's the pellet. It's a pellet gun.
Yeah.
So the pellet gets lost in my forehead. They had to do surgery. So even to this day, I have this little mark on my forehead that, like, with the stitches or whatever. So, I mean, my friend, she felt extremely bad, of course. I was in high school, no job. My mom had to pay, you know, I was on her insurance, but I think she still had to pay some extra. It was like a couple $1,000s.
Oh, your friend would have had to work that money off.
I know. I was really nice back then. But see, the new rah-rah, the new Robin would have been like, no,
not
listen.
even staying around her friend with a pellet gun. It's like, all right, girl, I gotta go.
Yes, no, exactly. I don't play with that at all. So, I mean, I get to your point. You know, they're over there playing with these
loaded guns.
I mean, clearly for the show, but so I don't think that was real life. But definitely don't play with guns. So yeah, so Trina comes out. She's like,
business Trina comes out. Yeah,
definitely. Business Trina, because she's like, none of y'all got it.
Booked, but my other client did.
Yeah,
hello.
Boom, boom. That's how she gets.
Tommy Davidson comes out.
Oh, and I love that moment, because when Wayne, earlier in the episode, when he was talking about how he was like, I love Sammy Davis, you know, all this stuff. In my mind, I was like, you know, the only person I've ever seen really, really go to bat for Sammy Davis Jr. is Tommy Davidson. Yeah. And, you know, he walked out and I'm like, that's it. That was clever. Yeah. That was really brilliant for them to bring him in on this episode. So I love that he came out in that part.
Definitely. I think, you know, it was a great way to pay tribute to him while still being able to poke fun at, you know, just all of them and their, you know, their situations. And, you know, again, just pay tribute to a legend, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Especially at the end when they played, you know, him being on Arsenio's show.
Yes, I love that tribute.
That was just a perfect way to end the episode.
Absolutely. That was really great. So, again, I wonder if he has any you know, children or grandchildren or anything, you know, that are alive. That I don't know anything about that. I would probably do some research, but I just want to, you know, give respect where respect is due. Clearly, he's a legend. So
yeah. I mean, I think they did a great job. The writers did a great job with this episode. And, you know, all of them executed it really well. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one.
I really did. I think they stepped their game up. I was very happy with Kevin and Wayne's performances. I thought they all did really, really well. Yeah. And they all brought something to the table on this episode, as well as the last episode, The American Zero.
Yeah. They were both pretty good.
Yeah, shout out to you guys. We didn't see Dwayne either.
Yeah, Dwayne wasn't there this time.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see who's going to be on next episode. So,
yeah, well, we shall see. So, anyway, do you have any news, gossip, anything like that?
Not tonight, but
all right, cool. Well, thank you guys for always having our back and tuning in, and so we definitely appreciate that. Feel free again to hashtag us with any questions. Hashtag ABTVRHOH. I know that's a lot, but it stands for AfterBuzz TV. Real Husbands of Hollywood. Get it? Yeah, clever. Yeah. All right. Anyway, again, you can find us here next time on the next episode. I am Robin Ayers. You can find me at Robin Ayers on all social media, including my website. It's robinayers.com.
And you can find me on all social media at Janeisha_Miss VI.
Thank you, guys. We will definitely see you next time.
All right.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.